Good job, Finn. Jack, you want to do it, baby? Hosanna, Hosanna. Good job, buddy. Hosanna, Hosanna. Say hello. Oh, we are here.
Hosanna, Hosanna.
Good morning, friends. I'm so glad you joined me this morning for Palm Sunday. Thank you for sending me your pictures and videos of you waving your palm branches. This morning, I want to tell you the story of the first Palm Sunday. It doesn't start where you would think it does with Jesus riding in Jerusalem. It starts many, many years before that. A long time ago, a prophet named Zechariah prophesied that someday a king would come and save the world, only he wouldn't come in a big fancy chariot like usual kings do. He wouldn't come in a big fancy car or a big fancy plane or a big fancy anything. Zechariah promised that this king would come on a donkey. If that sounds strange to you, well, keep listening. I'm going to tell you the whole story because it all happened just like Zechariah said it would. It was the time of year that the Israelites celebrated Passover. Many Israelites had traveled to Jerusalem to remember what God had done when he rescued his people from slavery in Egypt. Jesus and his friends also traveled to Jerusalem. As they were getting near to Jerusalem, Jesus sent two of his friends into town on a really interesting mission. He raised his hand and he pointed and he said, "Do you see that little town?" "Yes," they said. "Well, I want you to get me a mama donkey and her little colt. I created those donkeys for a very special mission, and today is their big day." Jesus' friends looked a little confused about this mission, but Jesus said, "Don't worry. If anyone asks you why you are taking the donkeys, tell them, the master needs them." So Jesus' friends went and did what Jesus told them to do, and Jesus got on the colt and started riding him into town. Do you remember about that prophecy of Zechariah? Well, this is when it all came true. Zechariah promised that a king would ride into Jerusalem on a donkey. And guess what? That's Jesus. And that's what's happening. And do you know what else? There were a lot of people in town that day because they were also all there to celebrate Passover. And when they saw Jesus coming, they knew that he wasn't just some guy on a donkey. They remembered that he had been doing miracles and teaching them amazing things. So they realized that Jesus was this donkey riding king that Zechariah had promised. So as Jesus came to Jerusalem, a large crowd gathered. The crowd laid their robes on the road. They cut palm branches from trees and laid those on the road too. The crowds walked ahead of Jesus, and those who followed him shouted, "Hosanna to the Son of David! He who comes in the name of the Lord is the blessed one, the King of Israel! Hosanna in the highest heaven!" The word Hosanna in Hebrew means save now. They were shouting that because Zechariah prophesied that someday a king would come and save the world. The religious teachers didn't like it. They asked Jesus to tell the crowd to be quiet. Jesus said, "If they didn't praise me, the rocks would cry out." When Jesus went into Jerusalem, people asked, "Who is this?" The crowds replied, "This is the prophet Jesus from Nazareth in Galilee." They were only half right. Jesus wasn't just a prophet of God, he is God's son. That same day, Jesus went to the temple and made the people who were selling things there leave. While Jesus was at the temple area, people who were blind and people who couldn't walk came to him and Jesus healed them. The priests and the scribes at the temple heard children shouting, "Hosanna to the Son of David!" The priests and the scribes asked Jesus, "Do you hear what these children are saying?" The children were saying, "The King is here! The King is here!" Jesus said, "Yes, even the children will praise me." Then Jesus left and went to spend the night in the town of Bethany. Do you want to hear what happens next? This week was a very important week for Jesus, and what happened to him is very important for us too. We will continue this story throughout the week. Tune in on Thursday and Friday at 11 a.m. to hear more of Jesus' mission, and again next Sunday to hear the most exciting part of the story. I can't wait to tell you. I'll see you then.